Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Today our group will be discussing our English translation of the UPM article titled Kayu Bukan Sekadar Tradisi Tapi Solusi Masa Depan. This article published on the UPM website focuses on the sustainable use of wood in construction and its importance for environmental conservation and future generations. For this part of the discussion, uh, for this first part of the discussion, we will focus on vocabulary suitability and syntactic accuracy in our translation. Mia and Kiki will lead this first part analysis, and the rest of us will contribute by asking questions or providing comments. So let's begin.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Mia, and I would like to start by pointing out that choosing the right vocabulary was critical to maintaining both accuracy and professionalism in our translation. So, for example, in Bahasa Melayu, the phrase "pendapat haba yang baik" literally means good heat insulator. We translated this as effective thermal insulator, and the reason why we choose this because it conveys both function and quality in a technical context, which is stronger and more precise than simply saying good. And also similarly, amalan kelestarian was translated as sustainable practices instead of a literal practices of sustainability to sound more natural and professional in English. And I would like to ask, do you guys think that using words like effective and sustainable make the text more accessible to an international audience? Because I think it risks losing some of the original ones from Bahasa Melayu.
I agree with using sustainable practice because it is widely recognized globally, and especially in environmental contexts. But I wonder, could the term effective thermal insulator be too technical for general readers?
Yes, I think that is a really good point. And we decided to keep the technical terms because the article is targeting an academic and professional audience. But if these were for the general public, we might simplify it to good insulator or add a brief explanation.
Okay, hi everyone. Let's move on to the syntax accuracy discussion. So, one challenge that I've encountered was the long, complex sentences in Bahasa Malay, which often contain multiple clauses. For example, in Bahasa Malay, the sentence was penggunaan kayu secara bertanggungjawab hari ini adalah satu pelaburan untuk masa depan yang lestari. And I've translated the sentences into using wood responsibly today is an investment in a sustainable future. Here we transform a noun phrase into a verb phrase, which is the noun phrase is penggunaan kayu in Bahasa Malay, and we transform it into a verb phrase into English language, which is using wood, which actually improves English readability. Also, we maintain the cause-effect relationship clearly without breaking the sentence unnaturally.
Yes, and another example is hutan perlu diurus dengan cekap agar sumber ini terus dinikmati tanpa menjejaskan ekosistem. And we translated this as forests must be managed efficiently so that this resource can continue to be enjoyed without harming ecosystems. And the reason why we kept the dependent clause intact and use so that to maintain logical flow, which matches the English syntactic norms better than a literal word for word translation.
So, do you think these sentence restructures could change the emphasis of the original Malay text? For example, does the shift from noun phrase to verb phrase affect the weight of responsible use?
Good question, Ali. Personally, I think it slightly shifts the emphasis to the action rather than the abstract concept, which actually works better in English language for clarity and readability. Readers understand what to do rather than just the idea of responsibility.
I do agree, but should we add footnote or explanation if we want to preserve cultural nuance? Like the idea that using word responsibly is also linked to local environmental techniques.
Yes, I think that is a valid suggestion. And for academic audiences, we could include a brief note, but for general professional reading, the translated sentence works effectively.
Alright. So in summary, for this first part, we analyze vocabulary sustainability and suitability and syntactic accuracy. Mia highlighted the importance of precise and professional word choices, while Kiki explained how sentence structures were adjusted for natural English flow. So next, we will move on to cultural equivalence and factual accuracy, where Shaira and Fila will lead the discussion.
Okay, thank you so much, Ellie. So now we will focus on cultural equivalence and factual accuracy in our translation. So this involves ensuring that local reference, cultural context, and technical facts that are understandable to an English-speaking audience without losing meaning. So for instance, terms like Sambutan Hari Kayu Sedunia and reference to UPM and SDGs need to be adapted carefully.
Yes, and I agree with Shira. Is cultural equivalence isn't just about language. It's about making sure the reader understands the context. For example, translating Hari Kayu Sedunia literally as a wood day of the world would confuse readers. We adapt it to World Wood Day celebration, which is natural and immediately clear.
So, for another example is Matlamat Pembangunan Mampan (SDG). So we translated it as Sustainable Development Goals (SDG), which is internationally recognized. This ensures that the readers understand the global context and the connection to sustainability practice without needing the extra explanation.
And also, we made a decision about what to simplify or expand. For instance, UPM, which is University Putra Malaysia, is a local reference. We kept the abbreviation but included the full English translation so readers know it's an academic institution.
So, do you think keeping UPM's full name is enough, or should we add a very brief note about its relevance to forestry research?
Good question, Alex. I think a brief note would help, especially for international audience, and which they are unfamiliar with Malaysian universities. But in short article, a simple parenthetical explanation is sufficient.
Yes, I definitely agree with Phila because it's all about balance. If too much explanation, it interrupts the flow, but too little could confuse the readers.
I also noticed some phrases like kesejahteraan generasi akan datang were translated as the well-being of future generations. Do you think this fully conveys the cultural sense of responsibility to both community and environment?
Yes, actually, it is concise and universal. So English doesn't have a direct cultural equivalent for the holistic sense of generasi akan datang. But the phrase we use can communicate sustainability and care for the future generations clearly.
So we also had to ensure technical accuracy. For example, whenever Hubble thermal, thermal insulator. And the another one, kecekapan tenaga semula jadi, which is turned into natural energy efficiency. These are scientific terms that must be precise. Misusing them will reduce the credibility.
And when discussing illegal logging, kegiatan pembalakan haram, we translated it as illegal logging because this is a legally and environmentally accurate term in English. so that ensuring the readers to understand the severity and impact.
Do you think there was a risk of you losing the local environmental context in this translation?
A bit, yes. For example, English readers may not know the Malaysian context of UPM's forestry research, but by clearly stating it's an academic and environmental institution, we preserve the context while keeping it understandable internationally.
Yes, I definitely agree with Shahira because also using global terms like SGDs uh, helps bridge local and international understanding, which is essential for factual accuracy.
So, to sum it up, cultural equivalence and factual accuracy require carefully adaptation. It is to ensuring local terms are understandable globally, and it is of maintaining accuracy of technical and scientific terms, and also balancing explanation and readability.
So we also observe that some cultural concepts like ethics embed in the Malaysian forestry context that cannot be literally translated but were conveyed through equivalent terms like sustainable practices and well-being of the future generations.
So this analysis shows how translation is not just word for word think. It's about conveying meaning, culture, and facts clearly to the audience, right? Okay, and now we'll focus on tone and professionalism in the translations. So our goal was to maintain a formal, academic, and professional tone while keeping the text readable. This ensure that the article is suitable for both academic readers and professional audiences interested in sustainable forestry.
By professional tone, do you mean like using technical terms or also sentence structures?
Both. Technical vocabulary conveys professionalism, but sentence structure and flow also matter. For example, uh, using symbolizes a commitment to preserving the earth for the well-being of future generation instead of a shorter literal version keeps the tone intact. Here another example. From Bahasa Melayu, from the source text, amat penting dalam memastikan industri berasaskan kayu ini berkembang dengan mampan was translated as are crucial to ensure that the wood-based industry develops sustainably. We choose this I choose this structure to keep the tone formal and serious, also highlighting the importance without sounding too casual.
Well, I see that, but couldn't we simplify it to critical for sustainable development of the wood industry? Would that make it clearer or does it reduce professionalism?
It's clearer, yes, but it loses the gradual and explanatory tone. The original source text in Malay phrase emphasize careful attention and responsibility, not the outcome.
I partially disagree because in English, sometimes shorter, punchier sentences feel more authoritative. Don't you guys think? Because especially in professional articles, too long of a sentence may sound overly wordy.
But if we shorten it, do we risk losing cultural nuance? The PM phrase implies collective responsibility, not just a directive.
I agree with Shahira. English readers might miss the ethical and communal undertone oversimplified.
Hmm. Maybe a middle ground? Keep the formal tone but break long sentences into two for readability. For example, it is essential to manage the wood based industry responsibly. This ensures sustainable growth.
That could work as well. It preserves tone and clarity while keeping the professional diction like crucial and essential. So overall, our translation had three main challenges for now. First, maintaining vocabulary suitability. Second, ensuring syntactic accuracy, which is the flow and readability. And then the third is preserving cultural and factual meaning while keeping formal tone. So each member contributing to resolve these challenges, right?
All right, and for vocabulary, I found that technical terms like thermal insulator, renewable resource, and sustainable practices were crucial. But I also noticed that some literal translations could sound awkward or stiff if overused. Did anyone else feel like we were too formal in some parts?
I think in a few places we learn very formal, but it matches the article's academic context. For a general magazine, we might have to simplify the tone slightly.
I agree. For example, the well-being of future generation is formal, but could be softened into a lifestyle article. However, since this is UPM's website, the professional tone is appropriate.
Yeah, and also regarding syntax, restructuring sentences sometimes shift the emphasis. Do we think any original nuance was lost in English?
Minor shifts, yes, but I think the overall meaning and tone were preserved, especially ethical responsibility and sustainability themes.
Actually, I think one nuance slightly changed. The original Bahasa Melayu often implies shared responsibility, while English tends to sound like an individual action. We might need careful phrasing if we want readers to feel more responsibility.
That's a good point, Mia. Perhaps using plural or collective terms like we or society in some sentence could restore that nuance.
Yes, for example, society with clear information will choose responsible products, keeps the communal sense, not just the individual.
Exactly. So the takeaway is the tone and professionalism are critical. Next, we'll move to our final segment where we summarize all findings and highlight key translation challenges across vocabulary, syntax, tone, and cultural adaptation. All right, Tim. We have covered all of that I have mentioned earlier. Now, I would like us to summarize all our findings. Has anyone thought of how we might creatively summarize what we have done, and let's focus on only on what's actually in our translation? Who would like to start first?
Start, I think one way to summarize is to say our translation carefully balance accuracy and clarity by choosing precise technical vocabulary while preserving professional tone. And we made sure words like sustainable practices and thermal insulator were both correct and readable.
As for me, I think I will add sentence structures were adapted from long, complex Bahasa Malay sentences into natural English flow without losing meaning. For example, the one that I said earlier, changing noun phrases to verb phrases made the text easier to read but kept the cause effect relationship clear.
As for me, I think we can summarize the cultural aspect like this: local concept, events, and references such as work, boot date, and UPM were adapted for an international audience while keeping their original meaning.
And adding to that, we ensure the factual accuracy in technical terms and environmental context, so reader can trust the information while understanding its Malaysian context.
So finally, for the tone and style, I would say throughout the translation, we maintain a professional tone, formal tone, ensuring the text is suitable for academic and professional readers while balancing readability and cultural nuance. So perfect. That sums up our discussion, showing that our translation isn't just about words, it's about meaning, culture, and professional clarity. So to conclude, we carefully selected vocabulary and ensured synthetic accuracy. We also look at the cultural references and factual details uh, adapted for clarity and global understanding. And then the tones and style were consistently professional, while readability and nuance were preserved. And then overall, our translation bridges the source text, Bahasa Melayu, and English, the target text, audience in a way can tell that it's accurate and responsible of our translation is very clear to read. So thank you everyone for your insights, questions, and creative idea. I think that's all from us today. Thank you.
Thank you.